Hello, friends, and welcome to a brand new episode of All New Snap Judgments. As always, I am Roy Rogers, and joining me today is my friend and yours, Aaron Glazer. Glazer, my friend, how are you doing? Did you survive the storm in the middle of the week here on the East Coast of the United States, where everyone lost their mind? Quite understandably, because it did rain a lot down here. So,
I mean, we got all of 3 inches of snow. It was a very unimpressive snowstorm for us down in Westchester.
did you even get a 2-hour delay the next day?
No, nothing. It was there was nothing. It was a
There's
nothing.
nothing. Well, sad winter here. I do want to wish, our loyal listeners and loyal viewers a happy new year. Sorry that I missed last week's episode. I'll also give folks a heads up. I have a professional responsibility. I will be missing next week's episode. So you get a nice little interregnum of Roy. But Glazer, who is our very special guest joining us this week, my friend?
I mean, our guests are just no big deal. Just some kid and no big deal. Is that right? Oh, wait. How can she even snap? We've got no big deal and the kid of a wonderful podcast. No big deal. Tell us about your pod.
Oh, thanks for the intro, Glazer. Me and the kid, we're brothers from the same mother. Biological bros. We just talk about Marvel Snap and ramble for an hour and a half to 2 hours every week. It's a great time. It's for the filthy casual. We don't go too serious, not too deep into the meta stuff, but we get into some interesting discussions over there. And it's a good time. It's on YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff.
The kid, how you doing?
Not bad. Hey, thanks for having us on here. Yeah, we have a fun little podcast. How can she snap on almost all platforms? It's hilarious. Me and my brother just mess around and we pretend like we know what we're talking about, even though we have no clue. And it's just a lot of fun. It's an excuse for us to hang out and have a good time. And thanks so much for having us on. It's amazing to be here. It's going to be awesome.
I mean, you sucked it up and had me on, so I had that
was a fun. We went for a long time on that. That was a good.
It was a blast. And then you one up me with Nerf Herder immediately.
Real quick here, though, gentlemen. Just be specific for our loyal listeners and loyal viewers. If they would like to become your loyal listeners or your loyal viewers, where specifically are there your Twitter, or excuse me, as we call it on the show, X, handle,
we don't.
your your YouTube? Just give us the details. Give us the details.
All right,
be as specific as possible.
You could find me, the kid, on Twitter, _snap. Our YouTube channel is at the Super Snap Bros. And then if you want to find our podcast, it's just there's links all over the place, all over those both those sites. But if you type in "How Can She Snap" in Spotify, Apple, it'll show up in all those.
Awesome. No big deal. Do you have an X account or whatever social name you want to use for Elon Musk's house?
I just made one 2 weeks ago. Just no big deal _snap. But yeah, man, I've started to respond to stuff. I've already got challenged on there, so to a 1v1 conquest. So it's heating up a bit in the X streets out there. So
very spicy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, friends, if you, our loyal listeners and loyal viewers, like to engage with us on social media, we have our own sort of hellscape account on X, Y, or Z, whatever Elon is calling it in between hits on his vape pen, and that is at SnapJudgeCast. We are extremely proud and excited to be Marvel Snap Zone's official podcasting partner, which means that by we, I mean Glazer, is extremely active on the Marvel Snap Zone Discord. There is an awesome community of people there. It is the best large Discord in all of Marvel Snap. So please click the link in the descriptions of this episode on your friendly neighborhood podcatcher or on YouTube and join the Discord, join the community, and it's just awesome. Support Marvel Snap Zone, which again, we are very happy to be the official podcasting partner of. You can also reach us on email, which is snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. We'll do our best to reach out to you if we can find your email through the kick spam that Glazer got our account flooded with. we now, but there are two very important initiatives that we need to remind our loyal listeners and loyal viewers about. We will start first and foremost with the YouTube. So each and every day, including weekend days, but not Saturdays, right, Aaron? Did I get it right that time?
Yeah, everything but Saturday. This comes out on Saturdays.
Everything but Saturdays is at Snap Judgments Pod for our YouTube channel with Glazer's almost every day of the week daily YouTube show. Glazer, if our loyal listeners were to become our loyal viewers, what would they find on the YouTube right now?
Right, over on the YouTube right now, we're doing just like ridiculously big videos. We did our first 4-deck day yesterday because I had too many decks and I couldn't decide. We're doing a custom card challenge in conjunction with our friend Drewberry over at Drewberry Snap. We've got, as always, all the bundle guides, all the decks, and we get them to you faster than everyone else. Like that Zun's deck, that Black Knight deck that everyone played, we had that like a solid 4 or 5 days before anyone else. So if you want to stay ahead of the meta, it's where to go.
Awesome. Another way to stay ahead of the meta is to support this show. And by this show, I really mean Glazer on Patreon. So, Glazer, why don't you go to the next slide and you can show our loyal listeners and loyal viewers one of the benefits that you get. So by supporting the show on Patreon, there's a whole variety of benefits. Like right now, for our $10 tier, you can listen to Glazer and I review every single card released in the year of our Lord 2023. But there's other awesome benefits that you get as well. Like, what's this benefit that our loyal viewers can see on the screen right now and you're going to read for our loyal listeners?
The $10 Patreon tier comes with questions for our podcast guests. So our first question is, Models would like to ask you each, what's your go-to archetype and when did it click with you? We'll start with the kid.
Go-to archetype, that's a good question. I don't really have one go-to archetype. I kind of just play a mishmash of everything and what I'm feeling in the moment, and I just want to play what's most fun. Go-to for Infinity Conquest is Hela for sure, because I don't care and I just usually do it on the last day and I just snap every single time. So I, let the gods decide basically. Go-to archetype, I guess, if I'm getting down on ladder and I just, if I'm in a funk, I'll probably just go with a standard Darkhawk list because they play themselves and they're usually really good. So,
nice.
Yeah.
No big.
Well, got to point out the kid is a filthy Galactus enjoyer. He just didn't want to say it, and
he doesn't want to get flamed on the podcast immediately. Got it.
But yeah, for me, usually like discard or Cerebro. I would say one of those two, or lockdown. Discard, Cerebro, lockdown would be my top 3 for sure.
Nice. Which kind of discard, Hela or Apocalypse?
Usually, almost always targeted Hela specifically. But I mean, I like the Black Knight stuff, but I just got Black Knight, when it came out recently. So that's like a new one I've been messing with. So yeah, I like the Black Knight, but I like targeted Hela, no Invisible Woman type of discard stuff. That stuff's really fun to me.
Awesome. Min, who is also one of our guests next week, wants to know how you feel about the extra card per month and if it affects your card opening plans. And then let's just discuss that they're releasing an extra card per month in the process of this one.
Yeah, I mean, it just affects my wallet more than anything. I think I know we have this discussion a lot. For me, I personally now that I got Echo, I'm collection complete. So being like collection or near collection complete, it's not like a huge deal, but when you're not, it's a way bigger deal. And I feel bad for those people who didn't, or they're having a harder time. Like I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, when they had the pool 3 and you could pay 1,000 tokens to get pool 3 cards, that was nice. Or per week or whatever, when it was much easier. It's harder now to get through the pool 3 grind. So I feel for those people. For me, it won't affect me too much. I don't want to sound pretentious or anything, but like it is what it is. But yeah. So and is it every month now too? They're having an extra card? I didn't do the math on the next 2 months.
According to the Datamines, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot a couple weeks ago on Glazer when you came on. This was the first thing we talked about. I think more cards is always good. It's just the price of the cards is really the core issue, right? It's the 6K tokens that the card costs. I mean, that's a lot of real life money to get to 6K tokens, right? If you don't get it through your daily missions or whatever else you're doing. So I can't find it in my heart to be mad that we're getting an extra card each month. I think that's a really good thing. And again, like Kid said, if your collection complete, I mean, it's like Christmas. Like it's awesome. You get more cards to play with. Like, I mean, shit, last week I got like 6 new cards, just because the series drops and all these cards. So, yeah, I don't think it's the new card that's the issue. It's the price of the cards. It's how many cards are Series 5. And it's like, Howard goes to Series 4. He doesn't go straight to 3. Like, Jeff and Nebula are still Series 5 cards. This is the issue with the monetization. I think an extra card is always a good thing, in my opinion.
So, and this is, I'm pretty sure, a feature, not a bug.
Mm-hmm.
The rate at which they nerf and buff cards means that, like, it's really hard to make informed decisions if your budget is limited.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's like a way to get people to spend more on the game, and I don't think that's like especially hidden. That, like, if Hercules is not bought by more people and continues to underperform, they're going to make it a 3-5. Like, we're all just sort of waiting for it to be a 3-5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once it's a 3-5, it's an extremely powerful card, and then we go on from there. And like, but then all the people who didn't buy it, if that becomes a meta thing, are like, crap. And then the next time this happens, they feel like they have to buy the card. And I think that's a little bit shady, bluntly. But it is what their standard seems to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of the blessing and the curse with this game, right? Because then there's other games that I've played, like Hearthstone, where like you get stuck in a meta for like 6 months and they don't change anything. So you're just playing the same thing for 6 months and it gets so stale, So the nice thing with this is they change it every couple of weeks, but then the crappy thing is exactly what you said, is that people don't know what to invest in. And then you have, I feel bad for like bigger content creators where like you're trying to recommend things to people and then it gets nuked 2 weeks later, or you say, hey, this card's crap, and then they buff it. Like Black Knight's a good example of that, right? Where like it wasn't that great and then they made it good. It's a really good card, where they have really good cards and then they nuke them, and it's like, how can you recommend things to people? It's tough.
It's almost impossible to recommend anything long term at this point. Anything you get is a short term buy. You're buying stuff for the 2 months they let it be meta, unless it's Loki, which will apparently just straight up they'll never ever touch. But short of Loki, like everything, and Thanos, I guess, everything has like a 2-month shelf life.
Yeah, I think with me and the kid talk about this a lot. Like a couple months ago, we were talking about this, where I almost would look at it more like, I hate to take like a kind of a weak stance on it, but like cards that you think are gonna be fun and fit the play styles of decks that you like to play, they might look bad from a numbers perspective, from a meta perspective, but like Annihilus just has a really cool effect, right? And if you like junk type of stuff, it's either going to get buffed or it's going to get nerfed, like, depending on how good it is, right? So like if you love move decks, maybe you just grab a Hercules. Like maybe you just do it, like it's risky. Like, don't get me wrong, the card is horrible right now, but like it could get really good like very quickly. Like you said, they go down 1 cost and like, we're in a Hercules meta, So yeah, I think if the effect is cool, I think you just pick it up and blindly trust second dinner. It's a scary thing, right? Like, but I don't know. That's how I approach card acquisitions. I'm not collection complete. I'm missing like 5-ish, but yeah, I'll leave a card alone if the effect doesn't sound fun to me. Like Galactus, for the longest time, I never picked it up because I'm like, this card's just not fun. I'm never gonna play this. And then I randomly opened it one day in a collector's reserve. I got the God roll on the. You get a Series 5, like the one time you get it back in the day. I got Galactus, but I never would have touched that card. I still haven't got Kang, and I'm never getting Kang. That's not a cool effect. I don't care if they make it good. It just like, so I think just pick up stuff that you think is cool. And if it's terrible, it's probably getting buffed. So
I do think that that's a really good point. No big deal. I think at this point, because they have to do an OTA every 2 weeks or every month, plus patches are having balance changes as well. Like, they're just going to get around to every kind of shitty new card, right? Like, because they're going to reach into their box and be like, okay, most of the cards don't need changes right now, so let's buff this one big one. Or they're going to be nuking the broken new card from Orbit, so they need to, buff something to make people feel better, it's going to be whatever shitty card is in the pile there. So I think you're definitely right that I think the safest investments for more casual or more sort of like budget conscious players is to just buy the cards that's effect looks interesting, and then you'll have it in your collection for when Second Dinner gets around to buff it, right? I think obviously buying like the best card possible, there's some of these cards that are just like obviously going to be good that they've released, but like I think that overall, I think No Big Deal really hit it on the head there, that you should just think about the effects of cards versus necessarily their stats, because it's proven that most of them are fungible at this point.
Yeah, and if a card's obviously good, like you're saying, is it obviously going to get nerfed then, right? And are we just setting ourselves up for disappointment? I don't know. It's a philosophical question, I don't know.
There we go. Yeah. Schrodinger's card balance.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of questions that you get to ask our guests each and every week. If you are in our $10 tier, Glazer, what is the name for the $10 tier?
Peace and love tier.
Peace and love tier.
Of course, yes, as I was about to sneeze, and now the sneeze is gone.
There we go. So this will include next week. So if you have questions for Den and Min, you should definitely go and join the $10 tier on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/snapjudgments. Again, folks, please go out there. If you enjoy the content, either here on Marvel Snap Zone or on our YouTube channel, go out there, join the Patreon, Snap Judgments, and support Glazer and his hard work. All right, let's talk about cards that are in need of a buff. We walk us through this real quick. Hercules is the card of the week. So we've got 4 costs, 6 strength, series 5, 6K beautiful tokens. What does your 6K tokens get you? For the first time, another card moves here each turn. Move it to another location. All right, the kid. What do you think about Hercules? I have a sense of how you feel about him, but Herc the Merc, what do you think about him?
Oh, I'm sad. He's just not great. I tried him. I didn't play him too much. I played him a little bit, and I wasn't impressed at all. It seems like one of the best shells for him right now that I found was Safety Blade and Spyro played basically like a Human Torch Tribunal kind of move, and
Phoenix Force. So Phoenix Force there. Yeah.
Phoenix Force. Yeah.
Cool.
Phoenix Force, Human Torch, Tribunal. All in kind of. I don't even know if Hercules is kind of like a win more kind of card in the deck. It seems.
No. Hercules, I have a version of that my Discord is playing that they're kicking ass with.
Nice.
It runs magic, so it has the extra turn. But if you don't hit magic, you need the extra move on Hercules, or you're putting the extra move on Torch from Hercules, or you're putting 17 power in a bunch of lanes instead of 70 power in a bunch of lanes. And the 70 power in a bunch of lanes is important. Hercules is important in that deck.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the magic seems like a better tech, for that.
Mm-hmm.
With the basic move stuff, he didn't work as great as I thought. You get some. I tried him with some Heimdall stuff, and it's fun. I thought that off chance he could be played in a lockdown lane with Storm to kind of protect them from moving visions in the rare chance that it happens, which is kind of a cool idea. But overall, I think he's all right. I think he's bad. I think he needs a buff. He's definitely not worth 6,000 tokens. I didn't have Howard, and that's why I rolled Spotlight Caches this week, and I ended up getting Howard first, the 1,000 tokens, and then Hercules third. So, yeah.
I'm gonna get yelled at by everyone forever. I think Hercules is good.
Oh, I like that. Hey, nothing wrong with a spicy take. No, baby.
All right. So I put him in the auto builder, and then I changed one card, and I went 10 and 2 on ladder. Nice. Top 5,000, not the highest, but not fake decks, right? And it was just it was annoying. It wasn't the key to the deck, but it was annoying and powerful. If you got a multiple man with a Hulkbuster and you smacked it around with Hercules a couple times, you just made your own Phoenix Force, right? That's gonna win you a couple games of Marvel Snap. It's again not the best card, and if it costs 3, I think it would actually be a great card. At 4, it's fine, right? But at 3, I think this is genuinely a phenomenal card. like a card that you really, really want. And I think they're probably, my working assumption is this will be a 3-5 in a month or two. No one's buying this, right? Like, if you check the stats on it, it's like, oh Jesus. But like, yeah, like no one's got this card. It's the least bought card since Martyr. They basically immediately buffed Martyr and Gladiator, right? So I'd be shocked if they don't buff Hercules. I think, look, they could make him a 4/7, 4/8. I don't expect it. I expect him to be a 3/5, and I expect him to be a fairly meta card at 3/5.
Yeah, I think the problem with him was kind of like with Phoenix, the original Phoenix Force, is that you only have really 2 turns to do stuff with him, and he just becomes a way better card if you have that extra turn. Like with the magic, like exactly what you said, right?
Well, even on turn 4, I want to play him with an Iron Fist, or him with a Ghost Spider, or him with a whatever, right? Like, it's just give me that extra space to play. And or on turn 5, like him with a cloak or what's his stupid name, Doctor Strange would be amazing. But like, if I can't do any of that now, I'm just like, God, like I'm just so short energy whenever I play him.
Yeah.
Glazer, so yours, okay, so that's an interesting take. I like it. I've played around with it a decent amount. It seems not great to me, but I love the take. My biggest frustration with the card was not the cost, but it was the fact that only 1 card per turn moves. Do you think it would be cracked if it was just, same 4/6 or even 4/5, but each card moves once, so you can't like ping pong a torch on the same turn? But like if I move a torch, like say I do the cloak on 5, right? And it spits out my multiple man and my torch, both. Do you think that would be cracked?
Yep.
Yeah.
Straight up broken. I love it. Look,
I wish it did that personally.
I love it. So what I've been doing is I've been playing it in the left lane on either 4 or 5. And then I if I can get 1 hit off it then, and then like I just make sure the first 2 cards in the middle lane are my move cards. And that's how I've been like taking advantage of it. I think if I could just like sort of ignore location of cards and just play whatever wherever, I feel like I'd be too strong. Look, move could use it, right? Like the type of move Hercules enables has not been a deck ever, to the best of my knowledge, in full 3 or higher. Like ever. It's never been a deck. Giving it something that's too strong for a little while should be totally fine.
What if it was symmetrical, but it's the first time each player's card?
That'd be infinitely better.
Like, so you only get 1 card, but if your opponent in the move mirror, or if you have an effect that moves an opponent's card, like, what do you think that is like a middle ground between being infinite for your side and still kind of gives you additional play?
Way better, but it still has to cost 3.
Yeah, that's what I don't know if it's infinite, because you're limited by board space, right? So like let's say you play the Doctor Strange, at most you can move 2 cards into there if they're the same cost, or if you Heimdall, then 3 is the most you can do. Like, I don't know. Like you said, like move's never been a deck, and it's kind of like with Zoo, right? It's like just give him Kyra, let's see what happens. Zeus feels okay right now. I don't know, it doesn't seem cracked to me with Kyra.
It's good. It's not great. It's good.
I don't know.
Smart players run when they see your move stuff get set up, I think, is another decent problem with move, which is why it could stand to be so significantly better, right? Like, smart players are just like, oh, that Human Torch is already a 7, it was already an 8. He's got 2 more moves on that Human Torch. That's 32. Unless I can put a lot of power in a lot of places, that 32 is going to knock me out. And like good players have been respecting that. So a lot of my wins are just retreats when, like, whether I have Heimdall or not, they're like, oh, Torch is in the spot for Heimdall.
Yeah, it's like the She-Not problem, right? It's like the She-Not leech problem. You know what's about to happen. You see that leech on 5, you know.
I would say, like, overall, he hasn't really been that good for me at all, but like he is a fun card. I mean, I played him in I made like a random like pinball deck, which I'm sure like most people did, where I have Kingpin, him, and Craven, then every card that moves things around, and it's just a hilarious deck, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he is fun, but I mean, you're not going to be. He's not a card that you want to spend 6,000 tokens on to grind up the ladder or grind to infinite by any means whatsoever.
Who
don't do that.
Who is he paired with this week? I know we all talked about that last week, but who are those?
Howard and Wolf.
Yeah. Okay.
Wolf will be broken soon.
Do you think they're going to change it again?
No, I think that Well, we'll get there. It's a thing we're going to talk about later.
Awesome. So if it's a thing we're going to talk about later, let's get to later. We'll first start with the balance patch update. Last week, Glazer and crew talked in depth about the patch leak. So there's not a huge. It was 100% correct, as I understand it.
It was not. There were 3 differences.
Three differences?
Three.
All right. Why don't you go ahead, Glazer? I don't want to spend a huge amount of time. I'm going to be for the audience on this, but we should definitely talk about it.
Yeah. Loki was supposed to be a 4/6. He stayed a 4/5.
Yeah.
Ms. Marvel was supposed to stay a 4/5. She became a 4/4. Supposed to being as per Datamine, not supposed to as like should have been. Cool. And then Annihilus was supposed to go to 5/5 and instead went to 5/6. So they adjusted the power on 3 cards from what was spoiled.
Yeah.
I'm fine just like mostly focusing on those 3, but I do want to talk about Quake because we got to talk about Quake. We can't not talk about it.
Yeah.
Can I just say one quick thing about Dracula, where they were trying to pretend that this is somehow a positive change for Dracula?
Mhm.
Made me laugh in the patch notes. I literally LOL'd in this morning as people were coming into school. Like I was like, that is not a change. That is a buff in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, well, do we want to do Miss Marvel? Do we want to do Loki, or do we want to do Annihilus first?
Kid?
All right. Well, I guess Loki's first on the screen. We'll talk about him. I'm glad they didn't make him a 4/6 because he still seems to be pretty good. They spent the whole paragraph in their explanation explaining why they're justifying basically why Quinjet still works with him. So Quinjet does work with Loki. Collector doesn't. Surprise! There's a bunch of Loki decks, and he's still very good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was very confused and a little bit disappointed last week when we were looking at the leaks of the patch. But I gotta say, the actual patch, I like it quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan of this patch. I thought 4/6 on Loki was silly. I thought keeping Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel at a 4/15 was silly. And like the whole point of her was the 4/15 is broken. And then Annihilus to 5/5, it just felt like you're just nuking him to the ground. So I actually find all 3 of these changes quite elegant, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm into it. I'm feeling it. I like it.
Loki's phenomenal.
Yeah,
like one of the best cards in Snap still.
Imagine if he was a 4/6 Glazer, that'd be crazy.
I mean, I almost wish they did, just because. Like, does Loki have naked pictures of Glenn somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here? Like, did he I'll never understand. Like, basically, Collector was the best card in Loki because he was built to be the best card in Loki, but Loki's broken. So, like, when you take out Collector, you just build Loki a different way, and he's still like the best card. Johnson just hit it's my video for tomorrow as of releasing Friday, so yesterday as of this podcast releasing. Johnson has a Thanos Loki that he hit number 9 with, and like freaking Buddy has this like stupid Loki deck. Like, it's just straight up stupid. That's running like Helicarrier, and I played it, and I was like, oh, I just feel like I can't lose. It's still Loki. Loki remains Loki. It's crazy. It's just like I don't understand.
Yeah, Johnson's decks were brilliant. So the one that I like the most, because I'm a filthy junk player, was right before this patch dropped.
I remember.
Yeah, he had the Annihilus Junk Thanos with Loki. But I played that because he dropped it the night before the patch, and I'm like, I gotta play this before it gets nuked. Yeah, dude, I wasn't losing. It was such a fun deck, man. That guy's brilliant. And then he just was the Quake Thanos one with Loki. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, the Quake Thanos Loki.
Yeah, that one's. I played that today too. Man, that's a fun deck as well. Johnson's he's a really good player.
Real good. To your point, Glazer, I've always been a proponent of get rid of the line that says -1 cost. I don't think it makes any sense why he does 2 things. He doesn't need to do 2 things. Most cards do 1 thing in this game. I don't think it needs to reduce the cost of everything. Sarah already does that. Quinjet already does that. Zabu, Ravonna, there's like a million cards that do this already. You don't need Loki to do it too. So I've always think that is the change, and then whatever power and cost makes sense to not make him discount your entire hand for literally no reason. I think that's always the change, but this compared to the 4-6, I'm at least happy, and a lot less people are playing it at least. So
not for long.
Mhm.
Like if everyone's playing Thanos, right? Like Thanos is the tier 0 deck. It's the best.
Yeah.
I don't lose to Thanos with Loki.
No.
It's like not a thing. If you see Loki, Thanos is just like, oh, I'm sad. You don't draw my bad cards. You just draw my good cards, but they're cheap and easy to play for you. Oops.
Yeah, that's why Johnson's like, hold my beer. Here's Loki and Thanos.
Yeah, well, that's just not nice. Johnson's not a nice person. It's fine. Actually, Johnson's a very nice person, but whatever. Ms. Marvel is worse than expected, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still at 414.
I like it, though. I think she's good. I think she's in a good place, though, right?
Told you all that priority shit mattered, though. Because it really does, right?
I mean, I still think she's good. She's a 414.
Look, she's great. She's not good. Yeah. She's just not as good.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a good starting point. So it's good. I'm not mad about it. Annihilus, though, I will say, man, I don't like this. I wish they just let the junk players have their fun. That wasn't even that good of a deck. I wish they just kept them a 5/5 and let them send rocks over. I like abusing that. I thought that was great. Yeah, but I mean, Annihilus is still a good card, right? He's still a great card. The main good card package was Hood, Sentry, Annihilus. That's still phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked having fun sending rocks over, and they ruined that fun for me. So sad overall.
Right, tell us about your rock love.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the kid. Like, I still kind of find this change reprehensible. So it's silliness. But it is what it is. Like, this is what Secondary decided to do. They changed the heart of the card in a way that just like, why did you have that text in the first place? Right? They didn't try like adjusting the power significantly and then it doesn't get played at all or whatever, like to just like nuke an important part of the card when the card, again, like Annihilus decks are annoying to play against, but no more annoying than many other things that happen in Marvel Snap. For example, the Blob, right? And Loki and these sort of other things. Like, it's well within the range of like big things you do in the meta. And it was a unique kind of effect, but that's gone now. So it is what it is. So.
It's funny, the Glazer, you're saying, what does Loki have, or what does Loki have on Glenn, right? But what does Glenn have on like junk players? Like we got Viper nerf, Black Widow nerf, and now Debris. This is a Debris nerf. I mean, that's what this is. Let's. This is not an denial. This is a Debris nerf. We're nerfing the card Debris. Like, this is ridiculous.
You know what
we nerf Viper and we nerf Debris. What are we doing?
You know what it might be? This might all just be a Galactus nerf, because I think Galactus is the card he really hates. He's like, oh, no, we're not dealing with Galactus again. Galactus
Debris
will never be
meta again.
Yeah, but you can still run Debris just fine. It doesn't nerf Debris in Galactus, because Galactus 6 were running Debris, so that they could then Annihilus and then,
push everything over. Yeah.
I think Glenn's trying to save the junk players from themselves because there's such a bad deck that you're just like, you know what? No, you guys need to win more.
Let them cook.
Well, then why did they print Celine? Like, it's like, and this card, right? Like,
I have my theory for why they printed Celine. I think they just want to have a bad one drop in Series 5 at all times. I'm not even kidding. I honest to God think that's why they printed Celine.
Wow.
No more collapsed mines. I love just keeping the collapsed mines open when I have Annihilus in hand. That was one of my favorite plays. I would just play suboptimally just to send all the rocks over.
Yeah.
That's mean.
I mean, I think fundamentally what they probably don't want. I mean, the thing about junk in particular is it does stop people from playing games, right? Like if you fill up their board, your opponent, it doesn't matter how awesome they draw if they can't literally play their cards, right? Like, that didn't really happen as someone who's played like a lot of junk both before and after Annihilus. Like that specific you can't play cards anymore by turn 5 or whatever only happened in like a small percentage of games. But but they, I guess, wanted to make it so it was even less likely unless you're playing against a bot that doesn't understand how the game works, which remains what Annihilus remains the best. It is the great bot farming deck because bots do not understand how to play against junk at all. So anyway, I'm salty about Annihilus, but I'm glad I didn't buy a variant, I guess, for him. So
Yeah, the filling lanes can get filthy. You're absolutely right. Like when I was playing the Johnson deck the other night, I filled the left and the right lane, and then I Eliathed the middle lane on turn 6, and then I had to take a shower afterwards.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we can move on here from the patch.
One more. One
you
more
want to talk
card.
about Quake, right?
One more card. Quake is so good. If you have 12 cards in the deck, and America Chavez doesn't exist, so you do. Figure out which one to cut and run Quake, and then you can just leave the thank you in the comments. That's all I have to say about Quake.
Quake is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about at the top of the pod how, we got these series drops, 2 new cards this month. Well, we got another new card, and her name is Quake, and she's unbelievable. I mean, this card is a game breaker. Like, the amount of things you could switch. I mean, Sunflow, Necrosha, Rickety Bridge. I mean, cards can't play here. Flooded location. I play a Storm, then I Quake on 5. GG. Like, it gets absolutely filthy. And you might need to just run a Quake just to counter your opponent's Quake once everybody catches on. We're in the Quake meta, baby. I don't hate it. I think it's really fun. I'm not mad at all.
Yet. So one of the people on my Discord got a Quake into Death's Domain on them, but they also run Quake because they're on my Discord.
Yeah.
So they next turn they Quaked it back over. Just one. It's like, I love Quake. It's completely stupid.
Yeah, that happened to me today with Luke's Bar. Someone Luke's barred me, and I Luke's barred their Miss Marvel on like turn 5 when they played it and like left. It was hilarious.
Quake is so good. All right.
Yeah.
I love Quake. This is a Quake love podcast.
For sure. I hope
Quake
it doesn't turn into Loki, though. I hope it doesn't turn into Loki, where it's like it was really fun for like a couple weeks, and then it was just like, oh god.
It's definitely going to turn. It's definitely going to turn into Loki.
It's gonna happen.
It's also just like, well, hopefully people will forget about it, like Legion. Like, remember, the people also didn't super love the Legion meta. So
I got in a big fight with somebody because KM went on something, was like, people didn't stop playing Legion because they forgot it. They stopped playing because it was contextually bad. And then someone like echoed that to me, and I was like, just literally wait for the next time someone puts Legion in a deck, and it's gonna be broken. It doesn't even have to make sense in the deck. Like that Revis deck had no business running Legion. It was just like, oh, it runs Legion, and then it wins more. No shit. Legion still broken? Who the fuck?
I think you're being a little unfair to Cam. I do think when it disappeared initially, it was contextually, not, you don't want to use bad, contextually less than optimal if you want to. But
Sure.
But then, which caused people to forget, it was a short period of time when people started realizing that Legion is busted, and then people didn't really return to the card, I guess, is a better way to put it. But.
So what should have happened is Legion should have gone out of your ladder decks and stayed in your conquest decks. Anyone who's ever played a high-stakes conquest game against Legion knows that, like, it's the most nerve-wracking thing in the world. You're just like, oh god, what location is it gonna be? And they snap, and you're just like, oh god. Like, it's just, like, how do you, like, what do you do? You're just like, everything's gonna get +5. Does he have Shang-Chi? Like, oh my god, is he gonna storm and close this off? And then he storms, and you're like, I better be winning in 2 lanes, and, like, you can't even compete in the storm lane, just because, like, if they Legion there, then you're dead, and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean,
it's true.
Card's annoying. So...
Very good card, Legion. I agree.
Yeah, I say like once a month. I'm always saying that. I'm like, man, we got to put Legion in our decks again. Like, there needs to be more Legion. Like, this card's still so good.
Yep. All right, now we're done with the patch, and let's talk about the Black Order season. This is the season coming this February. We're going to talk about all the cards, but first, what do we think about the theming of the Black Order for the month? And the variants and such, which you can see on your screen if you're here. If not, we get Black Swan as a season pass card, an Ebony Maw variant, a Death variant, and a Death card back, and an Infinity Gauntlet card back. I don't care about avatars. We're not talking about avatars. No big deal.
Well, I'm not super into variants and stuff in this game, but I gotta say, big fan of the evil kind of dark arts aesthetic. Anything like that in the game. So I mean, these look gorgeous to me. I mean, I love that purple skull card back. Looks beautiful. Yeah, man. The death variant. My death variant is a pixel right now, so I really want that one. Like literally using the pixel, I got a ton of boosters for death. Yeah, man. This is phenomenal. I'm loving this art. I mean, look at Ebonimon. Looks bad. He doesn't look like decrepit like he usually does. He looks like he's about to actually do something. You know, he's looking at you like, "What's up?" Like I'm about to make some stuff happen rather than shut down your lane. So I'm into this.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiment as you. I mean, it looks great. I love it. I think a lot of people, including me, have been waiting for this death for a while. I think it's Fiona Hesh, if I'm correct, right?
Mhm.
Or I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, this is like one of my favorite death variants. I'm really excited to get that, and yeah, like No Big Deal said, the whole dark theme. It looks really cool, and I'm pumped about it.
Roy?
I can't believe they're doing 2 months in a row featuring primarily characters like 25% of their audience cares about. So, like,
I want that Infinity Gauntlet card back real bad.
well, no, I'm not talking about cardbacks. I'm talking about like Black Swan. Number of people who can identify Black Swan off the top of their head, like whatever the name of that girl who came out last week, Kadera, whatever, like
Kyra.
Kyra, like the number of people who can name Black Order characters who are not Jonathan Hickman is a very small number of, particularly the ones that, like, yeah.
I read that run. I'm gonna tell you, I know all these other characters. Literally, I can tell you things about their personality. I don't remember who Black Swan is, like at all.
But she's the featured one, so let's move on to her. She's the season pass
She's not only the
card.
feature one, she's completely insane.
So she's a 2 for 3, or excuse me, a 3 for a 2
for
cost 3 strength. Yeah. And she's on reveal until the end of next turn. Your 1 cost cards cost 0.
Oh, sorry, that was my werewolf.
This is cracked. This is cracked, right? This is just a broken card.
Very
Go ahead, No
powerful.
Big Deal. Talk about it.
Well, I mean, the February. I think they're gonna. I don't think the Datamines are gonna hold up, right? I think they're already fixing the 410 that can't be killed. I mean, I think that's like a 4-9 that can be killed now, right?
Yes.
Play with 1 cost rather than just Thanos stones. So I don't know if these cards are gonna survive like what we initially thought. So I don't want to overreact too much to the Datamines on specifically the February cards. The January cards all like even in advance didn't seem too crazy, but the February cards all seem insane. This 2-3 till the end of your next turn, your 1 cost cards cost 0. This sounds absolutely crazy. Monkey dump. I don't know. You got the Thor beat Ray Bill, whatever. Like I don't know, man. It doesn't matter. Like there's too many cards. This is
Ray Bill. He's like, I just hate Southern people. Let's beat Ray Bill up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Glazer. That's a D tier joke. All right. The kid. What is your take on Black Swan over here?
So Black Swan, no idea who this character is, not gonna lie. But yeah, I think it's an awesome card. And I think it's a great, I mean, it's a season pass card. Maybe a little bit overtuned in my opinion for a season pass card. I guess we'll have to see when it comes out, but the possibilities are ridiculous, especially in Thanos too, right? Like all your stones are 0. You just play Hitmonkey in Thanos now, and you get like a 40 power Hitmonkey at the end of the game. Any of these dumps at the end of the game are great. You pair this card with another card coming up, and you could dump a bunch of cards, and they'll be not revealed to the end of the game with your opponent maybe, and then Firestar ever comes out, this card is cracked with Firestar. So yeah,
Lockjaw and Thanos too. To your Thanos point, Lockjaw, like you play this on 2, and then you can play Lockjaw Stone on 3. Like that's ridiculous. That's old Quinjet snap condition. That got nerfed.
There's nothing like this. This supports play styles I enjoy, but this shouldn't be printed. Just like they shouldn't make this card. And it's not even like the most broken card we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of cards. Like Hitmonkey, Werewolf by Night, Thanos, and then like every 1-drop they release for the rest of the game's history. Because like, how do you nerf this? You make it a 3, I guess? Because like you can't, if the thing is you can't make 1 cost cards cost 0.5. right? So like that effect has
No.
to basically stick. It needs a full redesign. This card's going to be insane. Welcome Mobius to every deck. Thank you for coming to the party.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that even playing this card honestly in like Zoo is pretty busted. So that if that's like the floor, it was like bad Zoo decks, which
Bishop.
already got a tool this month, get a tool with a season pass card. I think this is an extremely good upgrade. Like a turn where you can play your whole hand for free, like it does give the Zoo deck some flexibility that could be really powerful, and that's the most honest and fair thing you could do, which is playing a bunch of shitty one drops you drew. Like that's yeah. So I agree that this is probably one of the strongest season pass cards since I guess Miss Marvel, but I think even like unbuffed Elsa or unnerfed Elsa, this has a strong feeling of to me, which is like a really powerful season pass card that is going to probably get nerfed as soon as its month's over, very much like what happened with Elsa and what happened with Miss Marvel. So like the last two really strong season pass cards, that's what happened to them. So hell, it happened to Zabu too. So that just enjoy your month of playing Black Swan as its digital ink was printed. It probably won't last beyond its month, or we could all be wrong and it's terrible. But I have a feeling that that's not going to be true.
Imagine.
Yeah, even bounce. I mean, you play this on 2, and then you could play some one drops and beast on 3. Like your beast comes down earlier. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, back to the old beast.
It's also just second beast, right? Like you falcon your stuff back, and then you drop Black Swan turn 4.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
Like that's my favorite home for it because I love bounce. But yeah, this card is going to be insane. I think it's amusing that they were like, we released Shaw, who was like mid, and Scar, who's really good, but no one thinks he's broken, so people aren't buying him as much. You know what we do the month after? Back to busted design.
No one is buying the season pass for Black Swan, so they've got to make it really strong. Like Miss Marvel is a popular character. Loki is one of the most popular Marvel characters of all time. They sell passes, right? Like people will be like, "Oh, I love Loki. I'll buy the season pass because I love Loki," or "I'm a big Miss Marvel fan. I'll buy." But like, no one's like, "Man, I got into Marvel Snap and I was just counting my days until Black Swan was a featured character." Whew. No, so if they're going to sell the season pass and it's themed around the Black Order, everybody's favorite superhero organization, they definitely know that Thanos' bad guys in Infinity War were called the Black Order. Everybody definitely knows that. This is what you're going to have to do. Anyway, let's move on to another character.
The Black Order in the movies?
I think they might briefly. But anyway, let's move on to another character no one knows who they are. This is Supergiant, who
the one they cut from the movies.
Yeah, they cut her from the movies. Coming with 2 really cool variants. This Zabu and Darkhawk are both great Spotlight Cash variants.
Time out, just quickly. Supergiant was supposed to be a Series 4. She is now a Series 5. Thank God.
Okay.
And she was like a 1-coster, wasn't she?
She was a 1-2, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've clearly been testing her, so give it A+ to Glenn and his team. She is a 4-cost, 5 strength. On reveal, all cards played next turn don't reveal until the game ends. To be clear, I believe it's been confirmed that this works with Alioth.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, okay. Just to be clear. So it is a way to just blow up your opponent's stuff beyond turn 6 and without priority. So there you go. What do we think? No big deal. What do you think?
Well, you do need priority if you're in a Supergiant Alioth mirror. So you know,
there you go.
You gotta think about that.
And you will be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy they moved it up from a 1-2. I mean, that was just the most absurd thing in the world. But I don't know if it really solves the problem. I think 4 is the turn you're gonna want to play this, or all cards don't reveal till the game ends. Yeah, so you're gonna want to play this on 4 anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. Seems just like one of those cards that like, you read it at first, seems okay, and then a couple people like Glazer has already talked about it. Roy, you just brought it up, but come up with these crazy busted Alioth combos, really obnoxious combos that kind of break the game, make people feel bad, just like Junk and Galactus did, and second dinner doesn't like that, so probably gonna get hit up. Yeah, sounds insane. This card sounds crazy.
Yeah, this card basically reads, if you play this on 4 and you have a Goliath in your hand and priority, erase your opponent's turn 5 play and possibly turn 6 play. Pretty good. And or it's pretty good. I don't know.
Right? Like, hey, Sarah doesn't work. Hey, Leech doesn't happen. Hey,
that's a good one. I like that one.
Like there's a whole bunch of these things, right? Like you can't interact with magic.
Yeah,
that's there's just a whole ton of shit you can do with Supergiant that, like, I had like 7 or 8 in my head, but like those 3 I feel like are plenty to get us started, right? Like, I dropped this on 4. You cannot play Sarah on 5. You just played a 5/4 terrible stats on 5, and now you don't get Sarah's reduction on 6 because Sarah never revealed. Like, Supergiant's insanely overpowered. Also, if there's ever a week for you to open Spotlight caches, and you don't have Zabu and Darkhawk, please open this week. Supergiant is busted. Zabu is one of the most important cards of the game, and Darkhawk, well, by then Blob should be either nerfed or about to be.
I would say,
always been good though. Darkhawk stood the test of time, anyway. It's definitely worth.
Yeah,
worth
he's still decent even in the Blob meta. So, and they're pushing Supergiant for you to buy this, right? Like, not only is these 2 of the most desirable cards if you're not collection complete, but they're also really beautiful variants. Like, like this Zabu variant, like, is just one of the best Zabus, and this Darkhawk is, and Zabu for a cat has a lot of good variants actually, and like Darkhawk, this is also, I think Darkhawk has a lot of shitty variants. This is definitely one of the better ones, and so I think that people are going to want to open this week, and this tells me that no one knows who Supergiant is, so if they want people to open this week, they have to do this, and it's just also a card they think that they really just want to encourage people to have, which is weird to me that this is the effect. It's a cool redundant piece in Hela as well, right? It's an extra invisible woman that you can then put your Modok on top of on 5, and then all kinds of stuff that there's all kinds of things that you can do. So,
oh, I like that idea. That sounds cool. But yeah, this is definitely, I mean, Glazer's been on this one. This is you subscribe to the YouTube Snap Judgment YouTube channel, and I'm gonna be watching Glazer videos every day when this thing comes out, and I'm just gonna be stealing his 4 decks that he posts every day.
It's fine.
Because I don't want to think of these combos, so I'm gonna just steal his, and we're gonna have some fun. It sounds very degenerate. Like, this card sounds just straight up degenerate.
Of all the cards we're going to talk about, this and one other are the 2 I really don't want them to bring. We'll get this a second one. Like, I think this is completely insane.
Yeah. Yeah, and even the fact they put him with Zabu and Darkhawk, like, if you play this in a Darkhawk list, and then you can just hide your Darkhawk, right? And save it from, getting Enchantress or Shang-Chi early. You can play it out early, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
true.
Lots of combos.
You can do this and then Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Then play Blob.
That's true. That is the thing you can do.
All right.
Okay. Now, this is a card someone people might know from. So we've got to a character that some Marvel fan who isn't Jonathan Hickman may know who this character is. Okay. Call Obsidian is a 4-cost, 9 strength. You can only play this where you have a 1 cost card. Just to be clear, on turn 5, you can't play him into an empty lane with a 1 cost card. Correct or not correct?
As far as we can tell, yes. The 1 cost card would have to be revealed because you don't have a 1 cost card there until it has revealed. You have a blank card there until.
Okay. So that does make this card a little bit worse. Okay. So, the kid, what do you think of Call Obsidian?
I think it's a pretty good card now. I think it's just like a nice 4/9 card with a decent condition that's not ridiculous to meet. I think it'll be an okay card if you need stats in Thanos. If you want to just play if you're getting away from the ramp in Thanos, or any deck really with 1 cost cards, was almost every deck. I think it's an all right card. It's not broken like it was before. That was a 4/10 play with the stone, and you can't destroy it. that was kind of ridiculous to me.
Mhm.
But I think it's like I don't think it's like a broken card now. I think it's a decent card, and it'll be like a good stat stick, better than Crossbones.
Yeah, I think previous iteration was, arguably best card in the entire game.
No.
410 can't be destroyed, just
Not even
absolutely
better than the
absurd. But I
last
mean,
card
people
we
would be
talked about.
doing Black Swan and a super giant combo, so maybe it'll get lost in that shuffle. But if those two cards don't come out, I mean, 410 can't be destroyed. Very, very easy condition to meet. Completely cracked. This seems pretty good though. I think it might be a very good card. Once the dust settles on all the broken stuff and they hit it with the nerfs that they need to nerf, I don't think this guy's going to get nerfed. And even just playing like Jessica Jones and like a lockdown list right now, like feels pretty good. Like this is to me much easier condition to meet and probably better card than Jessica Jones, right? So I think it could be a very good card.
Yeah. It's got one downside really, and like it's not the one cost thing. It's that it doesn't make Scar cheaper. Like it goes in Thanos decks because if you draw it, you can play it on 4, and you're happy to have a 4/9 that helps you win a lane. And if you don't play it and you don't draw it, then it's a 9 power into your blob. And like those two things seem really good. I think this is boring but good.
Yeah, I will be losing 3 to 4 spotlight keys this week because I love those variants.
I don't need that Nimrod, but that Thanos
I
will
do.
be mine. Thanos.
I need all the pink.
I have a hip. That's all that matters to me. I have a hip for Nimrod, so I'm good forever.
Yeah,
Me too.
I had the Nimrod hip too. That was the season pass.
It was the season pass, yeah.
Yeah, reward, yeah. That Thanos variant is sweet. I think Obsidian is kind of a dullard of a card. Like, and it's not in the sense that it could be bad.
Good.
It's just like not a very interesting card to talk about or really even like think about. It's just kind of a good stuff card. So I think we're moving into one of my favorite cards of this month, which is Corvus Glaive. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
The guy who's famous for stabbing Vision in Infinity War. And how does he get murked in that movie? Does Scarlet Witch kill him? I can't remember.
I don't remember. He does
anyway,
get murked, though.
So he is a 3 cost, 4 strength. On reveal, discard 2 cards from your hand to get +1 permanent energy. Wow.
Oh. Right?
Like,
what?
Discards back on the menu, baby.
Yes.
All right, no big deal. What do you think?
Well, I was trying to think.
No big deal. I'm sorry. Wait, 1 sec. I'm sorry. Let's actually cover this and Proxima at the same time because, like, it's good. We're going to end up talking about them together, and it just makes our life easier, right? So, Roy, if you don't mind, let's do Proxima, and then we can talk about both at the same time.
Sure. Give me a second. I just got to move to that slide so I can read it real quick. I got it. So, Proxima, again, famous for getting run over in Infinity War. 4 cost, 6 strength. All right, when this is discarded, jumps to your lowest power location that isn't full. She's kind of like one-time Wolverine effect, obviously bigger for a discard deck. That can't, change if it gets destroyed and all that kind of stuff. So both really powerful discard cards. And she also has a week where she comes with MODOK and Dakin, 2 other discard cards. Unlike the weird sort of pair that I've picked here with his
X-23 works with Corvus.
That's true. But very few. I guess maybe if you're, maybe she starts going in discard decks now. I don't know.
So that's 6 energy on turn 4.
Yeah, I think the reason why she's not in discard cards right now is like discard doesn't have the like recycled value that like a lot of that the destroy decks do with Deadpool. So
but Corvus is right because like so the idea is like then you can go 6/6/6.
Yeah, that's fair.
30.
That's fair. But Gladiator being there is nice. I might because I'm opening for Corvus and I like that X-23 variant. I don't have Gladiator, so this is definitely a week I'm opening 3 to 4 spotlight caches. But all right, no big deal. What do you think of Corvus over here?
Well, then we're talking about Corvus and Proxima. It's worth bringing up Meek as well. You don't have to pull it up or anything, but for the people, for each card discarded, it gains +1 power and then moves. I think the move is more like a detriment. I don't think you're really going to use the move in a discard deck, but just picture it like a 1/5 to 1/9 power card and discard as well. In Modok discard specifically, I was trying to think, can we make Corvus work in Hella decks? And I don't know. I mean, it's not targeted and it's random. So it's probably a Modok discard. You want to hit your APOC, your Swarms. And, they just lost Chavez. And that was a massive, massive hit to the deck. So I think it does need a bit of a boost. I don't know if we're playing all three of these cards because, it's a tight list. It's always been pretty figured out. But I'm going to try to jam all three into the discard list personally and just see how it feels, because all three of them sound phenomenal. I think Meek for sure. You want to open one, like for sure Meek's going in there. Corvus just, ramp and discard 2 cards. I mean, please hit my Swarm, my Proxima, my APOC. I mean, we're just going to be printing value there. Probably not going to run X23. Sorry, Roy. I don't know. But maybe if you could figure it out, let me know and I'll copy your list. Always happy to be wrong there. It's just the 1/2 and ramp. I don't know. That sounds tricky for me. But I could be wrong. We're all theory crafting. I think it's going to be really good in Modok discard, in my opinion.
Definitely. The kid?
I'm not really a big discard guy. I don't play that much discard. I was trying to think, this card, I mean, the ramp is great. He's 3/4 great stats, and then like you just get it's a better Electro almost, but you got to put him in decks where you actually discard cards, right? So I think the Modok is probably the best for him. He could go in like a really casino style Hella list, but you're probably gonna be discarding Hella all the time. I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on this guy, to be honest. But like, if you're having stuff like Proxima, Swarm, and APOC, then you have 3 targets that are pretty good. Then maybe he is just like really good, right?
Yeah.
What are you ramping out though in the discard list after this?
Dracula, I don't know. Dracula plus Meek, like you could do, Meek. You could do all kind. You could ramp out all kinds of stuff.
I mean,
that's what I was trying to think.
There's definitely games where you don't draw Modok, that you like kind of have 2 kind of clunky cards, and being able to like play a 4 and a 3, right? Playing like, Dracula and what's her name? Who discards the highest? Sith, right? Yeah, like on turn 6, right? That's pretty solid, right? So he's a good back. He's kind of like Howl Cow. Like he's a better Howl Cow, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Where like it's dangerous because sometimes even in Modok discard, you don't want to discard 2 random cards because it ends up hitting like your Modok and Sith or something, like something you needed to set up, right? Or your Modok and your Dracula, right? On turn 3, and you're like, oh, my turn 4 and 5 are over. Okay. But like, I think it's a good big upside version of Hellcow. And I think it also causes you to rebuild the deck from scratch, because I bet there's a discard good stuff rampy deck that probably could exist. Yeah. But that would require people like Glazer to work on, but I'm sure the skeleton is there. But there's now like 5 different good hits that you could run: X23, Wolverine, Proxima, Swarm, and APOC. Like obviously I don't think you run all 5, but there's sort of 5 payoff cards for an effect like this. Might. Right?
You run like 5, then you run Dracula, and you run 6s.
Sure.
Like that's a deck, right? Like, and this might just be general good stuff where you don't run APAC and you cut like maybe one of those others, and then you run stuff like a Darkhawk package, and you're just like, cool, now I can just like play Darkhawk and Shang-Chi and something else at the end of the game.
Yeah,
like all that kind of shit seems like it's probably pretty good. And that's where I'm gonna go with it. I think it's a good stuff card now, and I think we have a new good stuff package. Like, which is awesome, right? Because there's 2 good stuff packages in the game right now. There's the whatchamacallit, the obvious one, the Darkhawk one, and then there's the Annihilus good stuff package. I think a 3rd good stuff package built around discard would be really good.
Yeah, that could be a really interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Glazer.
No, there's the move good. There's the move good stuff package too. Sorry, continue.
No, I would say that sounds like a really interesting way to go about it. For me, it looks like it's definitely going to jam it into a Modok deck for sure. And then I think you want the 8 power from the Hellcow. If you're going to go Casino Hella, the 8 power is like really significant in the Hella deck because you actually get to choose where it goes, and it's 8. It's a 4/8, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably just prefer, like, I know you could ramp into a 6, but you could always just play a 5. It's, you know, in a Hella, you're doing the Hella thing. So giving up a 5 or a 6, I don't think. But I think in Modok discard, like this thing could be like really, really, really good.
Yeah, and Proxima just seems like an insane card to pair with this in a discard list. Like a 4 set, like a 6 power for free in the lane that you need it the most. Like, that's insane. Like, maybe discard. Does discard have Storm again? Like, do you just play a Storm lane? Remember, discard used to run Storm. You just play a random Storm and then leave the Storm lane alone. Then eventually you get the Proxima to go in there and possibly your Meek. Like, it's insane. It's this. I might play discard. We'll see.
I mean, you get, if there's going to be games where you hit Wolverine and Proxima and your turn 3 play was just 3/14.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's 3, I mean, if it hits Swarm, that's 0/6, right? So if it hits Swarm, that's even more power. That's 3/16 on turn 4. And that's just silly. Like, this card is nuts. It's completely nuts.
Yeah,
Proxima's great, but like Proxima's homes are obvious.
Yeah, go ahead, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny that she's paired here with Dakin, who I think her and Glaive kind of like make Dakin obsolete in Hella discard. I think a 4/6 that always reliably produces 4/6 without the risk of the 1 cost sword sometimes really screwing you over, which sometimes happens in discard, depending on like what order you draw cards, I think is better. So yeah, I think it's super cool that discard is getting these tools, because I do think it's fallen under since America has been gone. And so I think these cards both, I think, have obvious slots in discard, but also sort of push it in new directions. So I'm excited to see sort of where it goes. And I think that this is definitely a month that's going to, despite the fact I literally could not care less about any of these Marvel characters, that they're going to get me to open my wallet this month, because there's a lot of really interesting cards, which I definitely can't say, I'll be honest with you, for this month, I've been really unimpressed by all the cards, both on a character level and on a power level. This month, characters suck, power level's great.
I'm excited for discard as well to become less linear. You know, before you could just add up, you just do math and you know if you win or lose discard. Now with all these like Meek and Proxima, and you know, it's like you don't know what's coming. So like I like that more.
All right. Speaking of not knowing what's coming, the next card in our
it's the next season. It's the next Avengers versus X-Men season. We are getting. Let's talk some quick variants here. We get Hope Summers, and obviously a Hope variant. That's the season pass. Hope is busted. We get a cool Iron Man, yet another freaking Magneto, because they love giving us Magnetos.
He's a popular character.
Hope Summers card back and an Avengers card back. This is going to sell a bajillion season pass.
It is, by tricking you that it's going to feature really interesting Avengers and really interesting X-Men, and it has maybe 2 really interesting Avengers and really interesting X-Men in it. But
I mean, there's only 4 cards, like 5 cards that come out this season, so that's
But I mean, Hope is kind of her own thing. But I don't know. I will continue to complain about the characters they feature, but I'm glad to have a War Machine card though, which we'll get to. Love War Machine. Go Rhodey. All right, let's talk about Hope herself. So Hope is a 3/3, sort of like getting in that sort of like Summers family 3-cost design space, which is weird to think, but I think every Summers, including Jean. Oh no, Havoc's not, right? Isn't a 3-cost? Is it 2?
No.
But all the other ones like Jean, Cyclops, and Cable are all 3-cost, right?
Yes. But Cyclops, Cable was just made a 3-cost recently, right?
Yeah, but hey, he is now. So anyway, continuing this summer's meta, after you play a card here, you get +2 energy next turn. All right, no big deal. What do you think? Is Hope Summers a big deal?
Yeah, that's a great segue, and that's I mean, we're just gonna do all
opposite of
broken
you.
cards now. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. Maybe I don't know exactly how this works. If I play a wasp and another card, is that +4 energy? Like,
Sure
because
reads like it.
that's completely cracked. I mean, even just on its own. I mean, this sounds batshit crazy to me. I don't know. I don't even know how to react. This sounds broken.
Kid?
Yeah, I don't think they're printing this card the way that it is. There's just no way. This is just this is Electro, but 1,000 times better. Why would you ever play Electro in any deck when you can play this deck? You could play more than one card, and it gives you more energy. And it's just like you're getting free gens from like your own cards. This is ridiculous. This card's insane. There's no way they keep it the way that it is.
I bet you they do.
That's wild. Then they can have my $10 easily.
This gotta be like a 5-3. They gotta change this to like a 5-3, and maybe we can talk.
No way. This is very, very good friends with Kitty Pryde.
That is plus mana after the first time you do it.
Yeah, well, it's plus the first time you do it. It's +1, right? Kitty costs 1. You're getting +2.
Yeah, but it's slow at that point. Like after that, it just goes.
Sure. So you could always play some Black Swan and make Kitty free, and Jeff and Spider-Man and everything else work pretty silly with this. Vision. Just, you should have fundamentally infinite mana with this card. It's still not the most broken card that they've spoiled. I think it's the second most broken card. I'm not even sure this is better than Supergiant, to be honest, because I think Supergiant might break the game. Like, I think Supergiant just turns the game off.
I think...
Like, why... Oh, go ahead, Ray.
No, go ahead, the kick. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, why would you ever play Electro over this card? Why?
I mean, they do that sometimes, though, right? Like, where they'll just release a card and be like, now you don't play that other card.
Yeah.
Most card games do that, yeah. I mean, I think there are theoretical game theory reasons that you would want to run Electro, right? He's lane neutral. This requires you to play in a specific lane, which opens you to a different set of counterplay than Electro does, right? So Electro only lets you play one card and raises your energy, but you can play them in any lane. Here, you basically are kind of wanting to play 2 cards a turn with Hope, right? Like in her lane to trigger her ability and maybe somewhere else, right? Because otherwise you'll fill up fast or open to counterplay like Junk or a Goblin or something like that. So, like, I think she is just straight up better than Electro, but there's, there are theoretical reasons that you would want to run Electro and not her.
This seems like it might be better than Elsa on release, Like, just think about all the restrictions you just outlined. Elsa had even more of them. You had to fill the entire lane up, and then she would give a +2 power. What would you rather have, +2 power or +2 energy?
Elsa was +3.
Oh, +3 power, sorry. But what would you rather have, +3 power or +2 energy? Like, this is completely busted to me. I don't get it. I hope we don't see this card. My hope is running out.
Serious question? Are we sure this is better than Supergiant?
So, go ahead.
I don't know.
Go ahead. No big deal.
Oh, I have no idea. I can't answer.
I think on its face, Hope Summers is better than Supergiant. I think Supergiant does more complex and probably just like more powerful and like way you play Marvel Snap things, like making your opponents like there's all kinds of weird things with her. Hope's a pretty straightforward card at the end of the day.
Yes,
it's like what do you play cards in her lane, you get a ton of energy, mana, whatever, and you play other cards, right? It's just sort of like Marvel Snap time at X2 speed, right? While I think Supergiant requires you to really think about the rules of Marvel Snap and how not your opponent not revealing cards or you not revealing your cards can be abused. Like this card's a great season pass card if you're gonna, in that sense, right? She's easy to read, easy to understand, easy to internalize that she's good, while Supergiant is, like a more advanced card, right? If you're like really thinking about card design, like it is good to have Hope at like a more common or uncommon level of sort of rarity and accessibility of players, and Supergiant a harder card to get your hands on because only more experienced players would generally get access to her, right? Supergiants are her.
All right, so ready?
Yeah.
Hope Summers, Supergiant. This is the play pattern. Electro, Modok.
You say Modok?
Modok turns 6 because Hell is not revealing until the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean,
That's great. Or you mean Hope Summers Wasp into Galactus turn 4? That's right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question.
You only have 5.
Oh, plus 2 energy.
Oh, on turn 4. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this. I haven't read this card like too much or thought about it too much. Say Meek's coming out next week, right?
Hmm?
If this card comes out instead, is it the best card in all of Marvel Snap?
Right now,
like number one.
Right now, yes.
So right, that's what I'm trying to say. Like this is the best card in the game, right? Like
I don't think it's better. I don't think it's better. I don't think it's better than Supergiant. I honestly don't. I think Supergiant might break the game.
Yeah, no, and Supergiant might be better. Like I don't know, but I'm just saying this card comes out instead of Meek. You know, in the cache. Like, I mean, we're in tier 0. Like, I don't know. You know, we'll see.
This Supergiant and Black Swan would all immediately be the best card in Marvel Snap.
Yeah, they're so good. All these cards are crap,
immediately
man.
be the best card in Marvel Snap.
Again, I think Supergiant is a really fiddly powerful card. So I get what Glazer is saying, but I do think fundamentally Hope Summers is just a better card, just simply because she's just so obviously good. And Supergiant does kind of ask you to do some work, while Hope, you can literally just put Hope in literally every single deck.
Yep.
Yes.
And the opportunity cost is like solo. Supergiant isn't going to be that good in that sense.
Yes. What I'm talking about as best deck in the game best card is the card that is likely to be in the best deck. And you'll run Hope in that, but Supergiant will be why it's the best deck is my working assumption.
Yeah, I think to Roy's point, I agree with Roy a little bit in the sense that I think maybe at higher levels of play, Supergiant will probably be better when people actually, understand the concepts and fundamentals of the game and card mechanics. But this is a great season pass card because they're going to sell a lot of season passes because it's ridiculous and it's easy to play.
And Hope is a popular, compelling character.
Yeah.
It's also worse than the next card because the next card is the most broken thing they've ever printed.
Oh yeah, this card's sick.
Oh no.
All right, so Pixie is a 1/3, which is interesting stat line. And she is an on reveal. Shuffle the costs of all of your cards in your deck. So that means you just randomize the cost of the cards remaining in your deck, correct? Similar to negative?
We don't know. It could completely randomize it, or it could literally say if you have a 1 and a 6 and a 5 in your deck, they're all just going to get shuffled up. You'll still have a 1, a 6, and a 5. You see what I mean?
Just on different cards.
Just on different cards. We don't know.
Yeah, that's what I think, but who knows? You're right.
At either rate, playing this card with Mobius is a fucking problem.
Well, yeah, I'm mad they gave away the sauce in the Spotlight cache. They have it with Mobius. I'm like, damn, why'd they give that away?
I didn't even notice. Andrew Duel was like, by the way, play them together. It's like, oh, well, shit. Okay.
Right. So so Mobius turns off any benefit they get from it. Correct?
Benefit. Well, Mobius will turn off any downside. You play Pixie, right?
Well, no, yeah. Any
Yes.
Any benefit.
Mobius says your cost right. What they cost base. But that means let's say either way, right? That means anytime you got a worse result, Mobius cancels it. And anytime you get a better result, you win the game.
Right. So Mobius cancels both the downside for you and the upside in the mirror for your opponent.
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Mobius is cracked. I think Glazer is. So I think Pixie is theoretically one of the most powerful cards they've ever printed. The question is doing the work to maximize her ability worth it? So I think the Safety Blades and Glazers of the world are going to really love and of this, but the KM Best audience people who are we want the most straightforward, powerful, consistent deck with minimal cost of entry aren't going to like this, right? Because I think Pixie to maximize her is going to require a lot of work to figure out what cards make sense to shuffle around their cost. Particularly if it's like you move the cost here, and what is the opportunity cost of running like Magneto versus Death? Like there's all kinds of like weird things. I don't think you just slap Pixie in every deck and you get what you want. So I think I think she's a wait and see powerful card for me.
I think you put her in the Thanos deck and you just print cubes at that point, right? Because any Thanos deck is going to be, 5/5/5, 6/6/6, right? And then a bunch of ones. You draw the ones with your, Mind Stone, whatever. This is going to be insane in Thanos, I think.
The other easy
like
home is
insane.
Lockjaw.
Any Thanos deck, it's just like, I however they shuffle it, it just sounds like just batshit crazy in Thanos. I don't know.
I mean, I think, yeah, Lockjaw is going to be wild. I think it's going to really depend. Like, if it's just shuffle the already existing costs that your cards have, then it's going to be a ridiculously good card. If it's like completely randomize everything, then it's like welcome to the casino, right? But then I guess you just play a bunch of high cost cards and hope you draw Pixie early, and you're like, all right, they're all going to be cheaper.
And the only low cost card you need to run in that deck, say you run Quinjet and you run Loki.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Wait.
you run Pixie, Mobius, Quinjet, Loki, and then just a bunch of high cost.
Does Quinjet?
If it's complete randomized, no, Quinjet's only going to benefit your Loki. Otherwise, it's kind of
okay. I was like confused. I was
but now you don't have a dead draw, right? Like you're just like, oh no, I didn't. I just have a Loki in hand. Okay, I guess I'll just play your deck better than you. And then, like, if not, you Pixie and play your deck as completely cracked level. And then, Mobius. And, like, it's just, there's almost no way this doesn't end up working. This is the card they'll change. I think they're probably going to change it to, like, a 4/5, which is not going to be, not going to solve the problem. But, hey, whatever.
I think at a 4/5, it becomes a lot less risky.
Yeah, because at least at that point, Glazer, you're not
you're only drawing 2 more cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As that really is the balancing answer, right? You just got to increase your cost, and then you're just going to draw less cards, and then less, because Mr. Negative, like, if you play Mr. Negative on 4, it's not that crazy, but if you play it on 3, it's like insane, it's just that's like the line. So, this, you're playing it on 1, like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, 1 or 2, right? Like it's very strong. I agree 100% with New Big Deal. I think Pixie is the easy, without even changing her text, I think she's one of the easiest cards to balance on cost wise. You just constantly increase her cost until she becomes a pure meme, right? So you find that right balance where I think Negative is, where he's really powerful, but the work you have to do to get consistency with him is just like not worth it. And and Pixie does run that risk. Like, yeah, you swap your costs around and 2 turns in a row, you draw the remaining 6 cost Reality Stone and, 6 cost, I don't know, something else, or 5 cost, I think got shifted, right? Not
Wasp,
Wasp, not the 1 cost Blob or whatever, right? Like, I think that's where she could be the more you increase her cost. And I think I could definitely see her for a month being at 1/3. And if she's as cracked as everybody says, let her run wild, and then she could become a 4 or a 5 cost. And then you'll run into him in the ladder and be like, I think I'm going to stay in this game because I bet you didn't draw your good cards. Because frequently, that's how I beat Negative. It's just like, I don't know. There's only like a 25% chance that you drew the stuff that you need, and it's not going to happen. And most of the time, it doesn't happen. So, anyway, let's move on to the next card here, which is Mockingbird, a largely forgotten Avenger at this point, sadly, I would say. Do love Mockingbird, classic Mockingbird, though. All right, she's a 5 cost, 9 strength, and she costs 1 less for each card you have in play that didn't start in your deck. She comes the same month as Man-Thing and Miss Marvel. And that's both really cool variants for those as well. So pretty desirable month to open cards. So the kid, will you be opening Spotlight Caches to get Mockingbird here?
Yes, but looking at all these cards makes me more sad because all these cards are so broken with Thanos that they're just gonna nerf Thanos some more, and I'm just really sad about that. Like this card, a 5/9 is gonna be a 0 to 3 cost, probably maximum if you're playing a Thanos deck. If you for some reason want to play Squirrel Girl, she's a 3/9. So or if you're playing, even if you're playing her, maybe throw her in like a Loki deck. If you're having like Agent 13, I mean, if you got to play those cards, but Thanos is the best home for her. I think any one of the stones, they don't start in your deck. You're going to be playing stones all game. That's your game plan, and she just will become really, really low, a low 9 cost, 9 power card. It's a really good card in Thanos.
Yeah, 9 power. I mean, Stature's a 6 power card. Like this kind of reminds me of Stature. Like if I'm playing, say, Absorbing Man Brood deck, right?
Mhm.
Even just the Brood though. Say that I just play Brood, or I'm playing Surfer, I just play Brood. That's a 3/9 now, right? I mean, Dazzler's a 3/8, like and you
With
have to do a
ton more
lot of
work.
work to get that
Yeah.
3/8. I mean that card's dog, obviously, but yeah, this sounds pretty good. But after we line it up with the last 5 cards that we talked about, it seems fair almost, right?
I mean, everyone plays Gladiator now, right? Like Gladiator, it's like, oh my god, a 3/8. This is going to be a 3/8 90% of the time. Like it'll occasionally be a 2/8 or a 2/9 or a 4/9, but this is usually just going to be a 3/9. Like you play it with the hood, right? Like you just it just goes in that package, and like I'll happily play a 4/9 in that deck. Like it's just you play it all over the place. You run Debris, and now it's a 3/9, right? Like you run Debris and the Demon, and now it's a 2/9. Like even outside of Thanos, which obviously I don't know what the fuck they're thinking with Thanos right now. But I'm confused. I genuinely don't get it anymore. But there's just so many broken things right now that they're doing with Thanos, and Mockingbird is way overstated.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9's dangerous. Can't be Shang too, so
she should just be she's really good as a 6, a 7. A 5/7 is a fine stat line for her. She's great.
Yeah, for sure. Because even if if you play Squirrel Girl, she's a 3/7. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be opening for this. Is she a Series 5? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Datamines.
Everything early on is Series 5.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah.
So, whatever.
All right.
This is also
Okay.
before we go on. This is also people's first chance to get the mighty Ms. Marvel, literally 4 months after she comes out.
Is it 4 months?
Yeah,
3 months,
That's
right?
pretty cool.
She came out in November, so December, January, February.
This is March.
This is March. Yeah, right. So yeah.
So, don't love that, but what are you gonna do?
Should have bought the season pass.
Yeah, should have bought the season.
Buy the season pass. That's what you should have done. That's actually one of the times, Glazer, that there's actually a clear answer.
Yeah, it's a subscription model game, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry. And now the saddest card of all of these.
Cannonball. I love Cannonball, but when I think AVX, I'm like, oh man, really wanted to make a Cannonball card for that month. All right, so Cannonball, on reveal, move an enemy card away from here. Oh, he costs 5 and he has 8 strength, by the way. So on reveal, move an enemy card away from here and add a rock where it was. If it can't move, destroy it to add the rock. The kid.
Glazer, why are you sad about this card?
He's
That
a big
seems kinda
Cannonball
cool.
fan. Is partially probably one.
I like Cannonball a lot, and I don't like Stegron a lot, and I don't want to pay 5 for Stegron.
Well, it's like Stegron meets Spider-Man 2099, right? Like, if all the lanes are full,
if everything else is full, which means I'm playing this on turn 6, and now I'm playing a 5, 8, and 6.
Yes. 5X, right? Because if you destroy their card, it's minus whatever for them.
But if every lane is filled, odds are some of the things that I've used to fill them are goblins and rocks. And great, I killed that rock that I replaced with a rock.
All right, the kid. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, this unfortunately, this seems like the most fair card out of all the broken ones, the last 10 broken ones that we read.
The most bad card? Bad?
Yeah.
Is it bad?
I mean, I don't know how good he's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be great. But I mean, if you're like losing a lane, you could use him to yeet out a card of that lane and just win the lane, right? On turn 5. If they filled the lane and you're like losing, you could just maybe use him. I don't know. I don't think.
Then just play Stegron.
I'm coping.
Just play Stegron.
But this throws a rock, so they can't put anything in that lane anymore.
That's fair. I guess so. You know how often I fill a lane on. You know how often I fill a lane on turn 5 unless you made me.
Yeah.
Like never, right?
No, you don't. I know. I'm coping. I know.
It's like, hey, you could rely on your opponents being really bad, and this card is mediocre still instead of bad. This card sucks.
I love how he's a 5/8 and the last one's a 0/9. Come on now.
I mean, look, they want you to buy this card because it has a really good kitty variant and a grossly horny Ghost Spider variant that a lot of people are going to buy. So, like,
this is not a good Ghost Spider variant.
I didn't say good. I said grossly horny, Glazer.
Yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable actually to me. But good kitty variant though.
I don't like it, but whatever.
It's got good like happy kitty energy, which is nice. It's got lockjaw.
Well, in the comics right now, she's an assassin murdering people, and she doesn't smile.
Yes, I know. That's not my That's not my preferred kitty. So,
no, me neither.
But anyway, I think that we got. That's it, right, for cards? Right?
No, one more.
No, one more.
You forgot the one you wanted to talk
the one
about.
I want to talk about. War Machine. All right, I'll be opening this month because I don't own either Silk or Silver Samurai. So there we go. And I love Rhodey. So War Machine, 4 for 6. On reveal, until end of next turn, nothing can stop you from playing cards anywhere. Sick of that lockdown meta? Rhodey's got you. All right. No big deal. I'm going to ask you again, is this card a big deal?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think I didn't say Cannonball. Cannonball's probably a skip week, right? Like you said, it's just a 5/8 Stegron, a little bit of spice with the rocks. But if they buff the power on Cannonball, I could see it being decent, like 5/9, 5/10, something like that. But this card just reads what, like turn all your cards into Jeff. Like that sounds pretty good. I mean, Jeff's a pretty good card. I could just cut Jeff from my deck now. I don't need it. I could just take Jeff out, put my War Machine. Nothing until the end of the next turn. Nothing stop you from playing anywhere. So even it's just Jeff because Death Domain, your card will still die. So just turn all your cards into Jeff. That sounds really good for a 4/6 to me.
Yeah, this card seems really, really good. I'm pretty excited about this card. Turn all your cards into Jeff. That means like you can just put big cards into the Space Throne. Sanctum Sanctorum, Flooded Lanes, Professor X lanes, everything. It's open season, baby, with War Machine. This is going to be wild. It's going to be crazy, and it's just your cards, not theirs. So like all your cards are Jeff. So it's like a huge advantage with this guy. And especially with all the locations where you can't play, he's going to be great. I think he's going to be a really good card.
I think he's a great mid-range card.
Yeah.
He's like competes with Iron Lad for a deck spot, right? He's the exact same style of card where it's just like, I want to run a card that does a good thing for my deck and I don't have anything specific I want. You're going to be like, oh, do I want Iron Lad or War Machine? And like, it's the first card they've released in that spot where I'm like, oh shit, I might actually want this over Iron Lad. And that's great.
Yeah, if you're seeing any level of Prof X or Storm in the meta, right? Like the answer is War Machine, right? But maybe you play Zabu, you play both. Your Iron Lad procs the War Machine. You're not too upset about that either. Like, I don't know.
And they're both Iron Man adjacent cards.
That's true.
Yeah,
solidarity.
The Iron Man theme, I guess, is coming together. Though actually, none of the Iron Man cards actually have anything in common with each other. Now I'm thinking about it.
Iron Lad hitting Iron Man is very good.
That's Iron Lad hitting almost anything with an ability is good, Aaron. So, like, okay,
not if it's a goblin.
That's true. I said almost. I did qualify myself, but you deserve that if you're running Iron Lad in your goblin deck.
I did once. I hit it on the first game, and I went, "Oh, well."
That's why. It's like that's why we're not doing that.
Oops.
And I think we haven't seen a lot of Silk or Silver Samurai in the caches, right? So it's
Silk's been in a few times.
Okay. So I'll be opening this not only just because I like Rhodey, but I do not have either of these other cards. So seems like a good week to open for me. All right, that brings us to the end of our discussion of cards that we 100% know, but there are some other cards that we know probably exist. We're getting a Eternal Season that's got Arasheim, Gilgamesh, Phantos, is that how you say it?
Fastos,
Circe, Athena. Cool. Maybe to celebrate, I don't know, the 3-4 year anniversary of Eternals coming out. I don't know. Sure. Deadpool season is coming, probably to synergize with the Ryan Reynolds movie that's coming out this summer with Ajax and Copycat and Hydra Bob. So all your favorite Deadpool characters for you Deadpool people. Yeah. And then Young Avengers with a Hulkling, a Kate Bishop, a Marvel Boy. Yeah, Marvel Boy, and Speed and Wiccan. So that I imagine we've got popular characters for that one, and which is interesting that they're already coming out with them because Young Avengers is probably coming out in a couple of years, but we'll see. I'm excited for the Young Avengers season. I love all of those characters. Hopefully they come up with cool designs. I could definitely take or leave all these other characters though. Thoughts, friends? Sure. Airshim, yeah.
Anti-Galactus. Now you have 5 locations.
That would be pretty cool, but no big deal. The Kid, do you have any characters here that you're excited for? Anything to say about sort of these possible upcoming seasons? I would be safe bet is May is when Deadpool season is coming out because that's when the movie's coming out. But
I don't know too much about the characters, but well, Gilgamesh in the what's the anime where it's like it keeps redoing the same games over and over again. Oh god, I shouldn't have went on that without thinking of the name. Oh man, it's like 25 eps, and then they redo the games, and then it happens every 25 years or something. And they do the
Hunger
prequel.
Games.
Anyway, Gilgamesh is in that. He's sick. He's like master of all the weapons. So I don't know if he works the same where he's a master of a bunch of weapons.
Yeah,
but
that's
I'd
what
be
he is.
very
That's what he
fired up
always
if
is.
he's that. Also, for the Deadpool characters, I think Gina Carano's in that movie, and if you watch the early UFC days, she was a killer back in the UFC, like the early days, like 15, 20 years ago now. Absolute killer in the ring. And so if one of her characters is Ajax, Copycat, or Hydra Bob, I'll be fired up for that. Kid,
I believe
what do you
she's
think?
Domino. Is she not just Domino?
no,
Right.
Gina Carano.
Carano. Yeah, she was a monster. She was in the first Deadpool movie, so I don't think she's currently in Marvel Snap. So
Roy will figure it out. The Kid.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know any of these people. I'm not a big, huge comic book guy. I'm very sorry, but I'm happy for them to come out as cards and for me to play them as cards. So
Young Avengers is one of my favorite comic runs ever. The Gillen one specifically. This is those characters. I'm here for it. Gimme.
Yep. Kate and Wiccan are two of my favorite. They're not even in the modern age of Marvel anymore, because we're old. But
yep, my favorite characters that were made in 2006.
Yes. But anyway,
that are as old now
as our students.
Spider-Man was when we were growing up.
No, Glazer.
No, not quite.
Glazer,
not quite.
Your math is really bad. But they're definitely as old as our students.
As old
are.
as Wolverine was when we were growing up.
That's closer. So, anyway, let's move into, I believe, our variant of the week here.
Hold on, real quick.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, Roy. Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night. For the weebs out there. That was the anime I was referencing. Sorry.
So whoever was screaming at their
popular one.
speakers.
I'm sure people listening will know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure they will.
Gilgamesh, crazy in that anime.
All right. Variant of the week, since we are now in a Quake meta.
Sorry. I thought I was still there, and then I looked.
All right, there we go. Aaron, sorry for our loyal listeners. Glazer just could not get the images to work. All right, so who picked this Quake over here on the left?
I think me and No Big Deal both did.
The brothers.
I think it's got a cool. I think it's got a cool dystopian kind of gothic vibe, and I think it's really cool. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I was thinking Goth Quake. This is Goth Quake right here.
No,
and
it's talk to
like
the
I said, I'm
hand.
a fan of the dark art aesthetic, and she's rocking it.
Talk to the hand because the face don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
She's got some attitude. I like it.
Glazer, why did you pick the one on the right here, which is the Quake crashing down, showing off her powers, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Secret Agent era? Secret Wars, the Bendis Secret Wars.
Secret Warriors.
Secret Wars is what she appeared in, the Bendis version.
Yes, but then Secret Warriors is the book she was the star of, and that's why she's here, because Secret Warriors is one of my favorite books. It was fantastic. It was not Bendis. It was actually Hickman, like early Marvel Hickman, and he just basically did a spy book with Nick Fury and Quake, and it was phenomenal. Where Fury was basically training Quake to be the new Fury, and it was an excellent book. And that's basically what this art is, and that's a really, really good comic run that no one remembers but me. And yours, Roy?
Mine is the Quake on the drums. I think this is a good mix between like capturing the nature of the character and being goofy. I like a lot of the like casual band variants for that. The better ones do a good job of both keeping to the essence of the character, which is definitely Quake with sort of both her kind of like anger, but also and her powers, but also just like a fun, goofy little image. I do like Glazer's one as well, but I was like, I'm gonna go with this because I think this is one of the best band variant ones. So.
Yeah, I will say the Pixel Quake is pretty cool too. That's the one I've been playing in game. The animations are actually pretty cool. It's actually I like it for a pixel.
No, Quake does have a good pixel, but I've been banned from picking pixels. So
no one banned him from this. He banned himself.
Right,
no one cared.
Listen to the fake news Glazer's giving there. All right, so this brings us to the end of our episode. So every time, though, we do give our guests the opportunity to remind our loyal listeners and loyal viewers what their content is and where to find them. So no big deal. The Kid, where can our loyal listeners and loyal viewers go if they want to become your loyal listeners and loyal viewers?
All right, I'll say, the youtube.com/@the-super-snap-bros is where we have our podcast in video form. Also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, every podcast platform is How Can She Snap. You can find me on X/Twitter, @thekid_snap. Me and No Big Deal just are a couple of casual idiots that talk about the game and joke around and just try and have a good time and don't take ourselves or this game too seriously. So just all about having fun. No big deal.
The Kid_snap is a good follow. I'm still trying to figure out the X Twitter app. I'm kind of old fashioned. I'm not great with this technology stuff. Doing my best. But yeah, thanks for having us on, boys. We really, really appreciate it, and this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this pod.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a ton of fun. This is really, really, really good. It's funny. We listen to you guys every single week, so to actually be on here is like it feels really good, and it's like it's really cool experience, and we really appreciate it. Honestly,
awesome.
Thrilled to have you on. I love your show. Also, Mr. No Big Deal, you need to let your ex go. It's really the problem. Just you got to stop trying to figure out. Just let her go.
All right.
I just did my profile today. I just got.
I didn't do my sales pitch, Roy. You cannot transition us away. Marvel Snap is a game, and games should be fun. And their podcast is crazy fun. We go awfully into the weeds with shit on this podcast, largely because I'm an obsessive person. But like, if you would like to actually smile at the game you spend your free time with, you need to listen to How Can She Snap. So go subscribe right now. You can get the rest of our spiel after you've subscribed. Hit that button on their YouTube. Subscribe on whatever podcast app you're listening to this to. And then you can come back and hear Roy's spiel and rate us and join the Patreon and all that stuff. The podcast is freaking amazing. They're really good people. Follow them.
Thank you. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, we had a blast with you coming on, too. That was a great time.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Aaron, do you want... So I actually did not listen to this exact part last week. Do you read all of the Patreons or for our
I
loyal
can do it.
listeners, or do you just leave the
I
slide
got
up?
to. It's one of the tiers of support.
Oh, awesome.
So one of the tiers of support on our Patreon comes with on-air thanks from your host. I should make Roy try to pronounce these names because
That's
I
not-
guarantee he has never heard me say them. We've got our friend Models, Pretty Chill, Fothor Newman, who you need to check out on YouTube, Ink, No Flex, Mandatory Burnout, Matt Conduit 23. I didn't change Josh Apodaca's name, but he is Good Dog Gamer. Sorry. Good Dog Gamer on my regular slides. Kiertix Lee, Mikey Hijinks, Rob Silverman, Matt H., Rob Rivern, Abigail Giesland, Direwolf, Ocularis, Louis Antunes, who's one of my former students, just for the record, JD McDonaldino, who you should follow on Twitch, and our friend Min, who is Rito in disguise and will be on next week, and you can also follow on Twitch.
Awesome. All right, we want to thank all of our patrons once again, our patrons, however you want to say it, for supporting us and supporting Glazer and continuing to make the YouTube channel something that he's able to do beyond these awesome Marvel Snap Zone episodes that we do. All right, so this actually does bring us to the end of another episode here of All New Snap Judgments. I want to thank Big Deal and the Kid for joining us once again.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Peace. You're the man, right?
All right, Aaron, we are bringing yet another one of these episodes to an end. It is, as always, absolutely lovely to do this with you most weeks in and out.
Peace and love, everybody.
Woo. All right, friends, that absolutely brings us to another episode. I will see you in 2 weeks, but Glazer and friends will see you in 1 week. Until then, keep on snapping and stay safe.